My friends, please join me in giving a big Hampton Roads welcome to the 69th Governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia, Senator Mark Warner.
In August, this is a great cause, and it is so exciting for me to be back with, I'm not going to start calling out names, Sandra, Phil, or others around here, but there's so many friends here, particularly in the beach, and it's the fall, and it's election time again. And I am so pleased to be here for Glenn Nye, because think about this, 2 years ago at this time, 2 years ago at this time, we were also in a campaign. I was running for this job in the Senate, and it was neck and neck. But, there was this young guy named Glenn Nye that, let's face it, at that point, he was a really nice guy, but in August of 2008, we were proud to have him carry our party's banner, but we weren't sure he was going to get there. And the 2 years since then, you have seen Glenn Nye be a fighter. He fought for our military, he fought for our veterans, he fought for economic growth in this region. Now, he hadn't always marched on a single party path, that kind of independent voice, but somebody who knew that we had to keep the country moving forward. And on issue after issue, Glenn Nye has been there moving our country forward. On issues around military families, he's taken on the issue of how we make sure that health care benefits for our veterans and our military families are maintained. When we needed a partner to say, how do we make sure we get those F-22s up at Langley? Glenn Nye was persistent day in, day out. We got an extra squadron. When our own party, for those of us, at least the Democrats in the room, said, well, our own Defense Department said, we're going to move a carrier down to Florida and spend an extra $1 billion that the military themselves has said was not actually a national security interest, but was just a nicety, Glenn Nye led the charge that all of us, Democrats and Republicans alike, came together to follow in. We're not out of the woods on that one. But we're in a heck of a lot better shape today than we were months ago. And we've got this new challenge again with Joint Forces Command. Which, by the way, I gotta say, as we wind down the war in Iraq and we wind down, as the President said, the war in Afghanistan a year from now more than ever, we need that Joint Forces Command to do the training, to have the lessons learned, to continue to do the modeling and simulation, which is all about saving money long term. And we need Glenn Nye to be part of this congressional delegation to make sure that we're successful in that challenge. And if we're going to kind of deleverage a little bit, and if we're going to make sure that we get this economy jump-started, we've got to do in the Senate what Glenn has already done in the House, and make sure that we pass legislation to jump-start small business lending. For 2/3 of the jobs that are created coming out of this session for small businesses. And if you think this last 18 months have been hard, and let me just, I know this is a campaign rally, but it's also a time to do a little truth telling. If you think this last 18 months have been hard, this next 2 years is going to be equally challenging, because we're going to have a real, check our Democrat, check our Republican hats at the door, and have a real conversation, all of us as Americans, about this exploding federal deficit. And we're going to have to make hard choices about what we want from government and what we're willing to pay for. And that's going to take people like Glenn Nye, who will put his country's interests always first. It'll take people like Glenn Nye, who understands actually how to read a balance sheet. I never thought I'd get to Washington and find so few people that wouldn't even know what a balance sheet looks like. And unfortunately, you've seen some of the deficits that have come out from that. Glenn Nye has proven his worth in my mind. Glenn Nye has proven his commitment to public service. Glenn Nye has made the hard and sometimes unpopular choices to do what he thought was in the best interest of Hampton Roads. Now I know, as Glenn has said, there are others who want to try to nationalize this race, although I've yet to hear from particularly some of my colleagues on the other side who know how to say no, but haven't yet offered much positive agenda of how they're going to get our country back on its feet. And that's the choice that we're really being offered. So my request to all of you is to please, over these next, what is it, Glenn, 69 days? Make the calls. Talk to your neighbors. This is a good young man. This is a man who has a great future for Virginia, for Hampton Roads, and for our nation. Do what you can. Get up here, Glenn. We're going to do. Let's go.